Hi, Eric Lanask here. We're at ITEXPO in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm talking with CafeX Communications, Sajil Hussain. Sajil, great to see you again.
Great to see you as well, Eric.
So, talk to me a little about some of the innovation that CafeX has really been getting into. We've heard a lot about some of the things that CafeX is doing, and specifically around delivering real-time engagement, real-time communications to customers.
Sure. So, CafeX, as you know, our focus is real-time customer engagement solutions. And what we've been focused on is providing software that allows enterprises to easily light up their mobile and web apps with things like real-time collaboration capability, voice, video, chat, and much more. So that's one area of our focus. But the next big area is that same platform that we talk about can capture context and preserve that context across interaction channels. So you may start off with a chat channel and then go from chat to voice to video. But preserving that kind of context across these interaction channels allows enterprises to give that kind of holistic engagement experience, what we call omni-channel. So our focus has been on those two fronts and then integrating this with existing infrastructures in place. So that's what's getting a lot of traction. As we were talking about earlier, it's about delivering those business outcomes. Absolutely.
So, particularly when you talk about omni-channel engagement and the technology that goes into that, a lot of times that ends up being something that is not easy for the SMB market to implement. But that's something that you are going to be focusing on. Can you talk to me a little bit about how specifically you are going to be focusing on the SMB, and are there particular types of customers that you're looking for?
It's a great question. One of the things, our focus so far has been the enterprise, and it will be, because enterprise is a huge segment to go after, absolutely. But one of the things that we are also seeing is there is a vast untapped market on the SMB front, and their consumption model is absolutely cloud-based, because they want to have a frictionless way of consuming these services. They don't want to be mired with the complexities of data center infrastructures and those things, right? So what we are absolutely looking at is on delivering those kinds of capabilities in the cloud, leveraging our existing technology assets and making them available in the cloud so that a broad-based segment like the SMB can consume it. So that absolutely is something that you will be hearing more about that in the next few weeks. Some of the announcements that we'll be making on that front, absolutely.
Talk to me about the need or sort of the momentum around cross-channel contextual communications when it comes to that customer experience and customer experience management.
Great question. One of the things that we see time and time again is whether you're talking about a big bank or a hospital setup and things like that, the typical enterprise has chat maybe coming from one engine, say a LivePerson or a Snap Engage or whatever. Then you have contact centers maybe from an Avaya or a Cisco, and then you have voice and video coming from someone else, and then you have your CRM system from Salesforce. You want to be able to give a holistic engagement back to the consumer. So the consumer may start off from a chat session from, say, a LivePerson, and then very quickly, if this person, if you look at the communication engagement experience today, is if the chat agent is not able to answer your question, you have to go into a voice call, typically, that you make, and then you restart, rehash all of those details again. And what enterprises are coming to us and saying is, we have all of these channels, but we want a way to tie them together. We don't want to rip and replace out. And maybe these are coming from different vendors, but give us an experience that allows consumers to leverage whatever modality they want from an interaction perspective, but have a holistic engagement. So that if they have that in place, then you're able to drive a positive outcome where users can go from chat to, say, voice to video without having to leave the app. Plus, it's contextual so that they don't have to rehash a lot of that information. That is an omni-channel experience, which is what we are focused on.
What about big data? A lot of conversation, around the customer experience and customer engagement and big data. What is your strategy around big data, and specifically, I guess, around how you're going to integrate that into that whole customer experience concept?
Absolutely. So the big piece is context, right? Context is our tie-in factor with big data. The fact I was mentioning to you is that our platform collects context from the mobile or the web app that the end user is interacting with. Once you have that context, everything that you as a person are doing interacting with the enterprise, you can leverage that context in a number of different ways. And that's where the big data angle comes into play. Some of that context can be leveraged to provide you better customer service. Some of that can be leveraged for routing purposes. For example, based on your sentiment, as an example, of your interaction with an agent, that sentiment could be tracked from a big data perspective, right? Plug that into a rules engine, and then we can figure out what is the best way to serve Eric, as an example, right? If you're frowning when I'm positioning a 30-year mortgage to you, I know from my integration into the big data engine that maybe I need to position an ARM mortgage type instead of a 30-year one.
Yeah, that you just got to give me a better rate.
Exactly, right? Instead of the big ballooned up rates, I want to give you a better one, right? So then all of this context with big data integrated back into the contact center is really where we see the next generation of customer experience going, and CafeX is absolutely focused on that.
Got it. Something that got to ask.
Yeah.
Is it true that you're able to add live video assist to any mobile app or website with just 2 lines of code?
Absolutely. I asked the guys to do it in 1 line of code, but they took 2.
How are you able to do that in just 2 lines?
2 lines of code is really what we want. We want to make it so simple that literally a 14-year-old kid or a 10-year-old should be just able to drop these 2 lines of code and get that going. So we've abstracted all of that complexity away and got it down to these 2 simple procedure calls that you drop into your website and get that going. So you're not really mired with the complexity of how do you set up calls and whether it's WebRTC, non-web RTC. We've made it that simple, and it's not just about voice and video. We've added, and that's really where we got best of show at the Enterprise Connect as well, where it's voice, video, co-browse, and chat, and annotation, and file push, all of that capability in those 2 lines of code. But it took 2, not 1. But hey, I'm happy with that, right?
Well, you've got something to work towards then.
Absolutely. Always having goals, right?
Talk to me about the Frost & Sullivan New Product Innovation Award that CafeX was recently named for.
We just got it, and we were very excited about it. Right, this was our 2nd award in the last 3 months, starting off with the Enterprise Connect Best of Show. Frost & Sullivan really wanted to look at disruptive technology out there from a customer experience perspective, and so they saw all the elements that we had from not just an IT perspective, right? The simplicity, the 2 lines of code to kind of get this going. Does it integrate with existing contact center systems, with existing communication systems, but also the richness in terms of the solution. The omni-channel piece, the cross-channel context, the integration from a WebRTC and a non-WebRTC perspective. All of those things together is really what caught their attention from a disruption perspective, and they gave the award, which we're very excited and thankful for.
Great. Well, congratulations again, and thanks for joining us here.
Thanks, Rick. Pleasure.